Comrades, we meet 30 years after our struggle, and we remember at this point with great affection those comrades who died in the time that has passed. John Hamilton, Bill Lafferty, Steve Jenkins, Peter Lloyd, Alec Doswell, Hugh Dalton, Peter Owens, Frank Mills and John Linden, that I am aware of, and I apologise if I've missed anybody out. And I know that some of the families that worked so hard with us during the struggle, who were with us every step of the way, when we knew that we could lose our homes, lose every penny that we had, our families suffered in the same way. And our banner from the Family Support Group is here. And I'd like to remember any of them that we've lost as well. Remember the MPs, the great working class MPs, people who'd learned their trade in a worker's environment and who've gone on as well. Eddie Lloyden, Big Eric Heffer, when I was as the last person to have the right to appeal to Labour Party conference against expulsion was appealed, Big Eric came down from the platform, came to me at the lectern and lifted me off my feet to make it clear that he stood with us. Now, we also remember, of course, Bob Parry, our own Terry Fields, and Ken Stewart, who was an MEP. And we've also lost Kiva Coombs, who was leader of the Merseyside County Council in that time. A few other comrades have gone over to the other side in a different way. Not that their life has passed, but they've changed sides in the fight. They've decided they no longer want to stand with working people in the fight for a better life, or believing that the fight for a better life can be won in struggle. And we've another generation come through, comrades, or even two generations come. As we're meeting each other today, we're swapping stories of how many grandchildren we've got. But another generation has come into the struggle. Over the last few years, the students have fought in a way that ignited the Labour movement. It made the Labour movement wake up. And we look to that generation as well to take the struggle on. But all of us who fought in the struggle fought the onslaught of Thatcher. We suffered in a very real way. This city was dirt poor and there were many people who were going without. I remember a friend whose specialist Sunday dinner was roast dinner and no meat. But we fought, and we fought with organisation, with the tradition of solidarity, with all education, agitation, and huge demonstrations, large amounts of propaganda, and huge meetings across the city. But let's be clear, what we face today is qualitatively worse than what we faced then. That was a skirmish. There's a war on now where they're after our health service. Legally, they've taken our health service now, and it's open for privatisation. They're after our education. The academies are already in, and free schools are moving in. They're trying to introduce a curriculum which is completely anti everything we know about child development. And year one children, year one, first year out of reception, will take a test, an oral test, taking about 40 minutes, with their teacher on phonic sounds. And if they don't get their phonic sounds right, their teacher's pay is going to be affected, and they will have a record of failure from that age. That's the people running education today. But the hospitals, the schools, social services, social security, the right to social insurance, all of them are at risk here and across Europe. We fight the same fight, but bigger and on a grander scale. The enemy have tried to globalise industry, thinking they could get rid of the traditions of struggle from working people today. But we today will send from this meeting greetings to those garment workers who were killed as their factories collapsed in Bangladesh. We send greetings to those garment workers who were locked in their factory and burned to death. one factory in Pakistan and one in Bangladesh. They are the working class as well, and the working class is going to fight and fight in a new way. But the best way to help our comrades in the new working class is to make sure we organise and kick the rich people where it hurts here. Terry Fields once said, and I'm sorry if I don't get the words exactly right, but he said, we don't want much. Working people don't want much. We want a place to live. We want a decent job, health care, education for our kids, care for the elderly, and a planet fit to live on. Our ancestors fought for that, and we achieved a huge amount of that in the period immediately after World War II. When I joined the Labour Party in the mid-60s in Clubmoor Ward, there was Ken Stewart, who'd gone in on a glider into Normandy as part of World War II. Bill Lafferty, who'd fought not just in the War of the Atlantic, but in the Arctic convoys as well. They had a huge history, and they had come back and been part of the spirit of 45, as Ken Loach's film has shown, and seen the creation of the health service. The fact you could go to the doctors without having to pay, and you were treated according to your illness, not according to whether or not you could pay. We're losing that. Paul Lafferty tells me stories of his mum going to help in the local church with all the other very old ladies, and talking about how from our council estate in Clubmoor, their kids had gone on to university. Some of their kids had doctorates. Some of their kids had been immensely successful academically. Why? Because they had free education and grants to go to university. We've lost it, folks, and we're going to lose it some more if we don't stand up and fight. And I was schooled from the age of 16 on the need for council housing, where people had the right to a secure tenancy, so we could build communities. And I'd love to have brought my kids up in the security of the community that I grew up in a council house, with council house tenants around me. And the idea that the people should have to leave their homes that they tended the gardens in and brought their kids up in because there's spare bedrooms. I'm an educationalist, I'm a special needs teacher, and I'll tell you that grandparents are fundamental to the education of children. You strip away the grandparents from the education of children and their educational achievements collapses. And yet, our people are not supposed to have a bedroom for their grandchildren. We have to fight the bedroom tax, and we have to fight As I said, we stood on the shoulders of giants when we took up the struggle. But when we were elected, we had to fight every single ward, to win every single ward, and we fought it ward by ward to win those elections. The local authority workers, bloodied from the winter of discontent, were the stalwart of our campaign, but they had to fight it workplace by workplace by workplace to win the votes to support the struggle we were undertaking. We were not supported by the national leadership of the trade unions, and eventually some of the local authority workers voted not to continue to strike. So the end of our campaign was messy. It wasn't perfect, and nobody sets this struggle up to be the epitome of how you struggle. But it is a story of people who stand by what they say. We said we wouldn't make cuts. We didn't make cuts. We said we would build houses. We built houses. The It's like having your thing as a teacher, and have a look at the poster over there to see it. We built those houses. We brought down the most appalling slums in this city. I remember going canvassing in Tommy White's Gardens. Tommy White's Gardens was so bad that it made my stomach turn. We walked up knocking on the doors, and the kids were playing on the steps, and the soil pipes were leaking excrement onto those steps where the kids were playing. This was in the 20th century in Liverpool. We said to those people, vote for Labour and we will bring this place down and we will build houses in its place. Within 18 months, those houses were up. Houses with back and front gardens, central heating. We'd consulted the people about what they wanted for the housing. One of my favourite stories is the fact that the old ladies from the areas that were being regenerated, the regeneration areas, were sent really pretty little formal invitations to come to the town hall. They were invited into the Lord Mayor's parlour, although we no longer called it a Lord Mayor, he was chairman of the council. And they were met by an officer of the council and taken round the exhibition to decide what the houses should look like. Well, how should these houses be? And from their contribution, we decided that every house should have a much bigger kitchen. But they were treated like royalty. And that's the way we should be. Only the best for the workers. None of this that working people... None of this that working people are somehow to be told what to do. One of the social housing, we're told, is going to give people a list of things they have to do to improve their life, to keep their tenancy. They have to agree to stop smoking and lose weight and eat healthily. Who do they think they are? We need political representation for working class people and working class interests. One of the things we did as a council was build Everton Park. Now, as you drive in and out of this city on the Wallasey Tunnel, you have to see the park. We're the only council that built a major urban park. And I know it's not had the money put into it should be. And I know they're talking of building on it now. But that place was so densely populated. At one point it was the most densely populated place on the planet. We brought down those high-rise flats. We brought down the piggeries. We made sure that people had decent houses and decent places to live. It was propaganda in bricks and mortar. We could go on forever about all the different things we said. The exhibition is only a minor part of it. But I will finish by saying that we are moving into a time now of struggle. Every person here needs to be aware that we can lose everything the movement has fought for unless we go out and we struggle again. It doesn't matter how many people you talk to about the struggles of the past. If it's one, doesn't matter if it's a little thing you do, but reignite the struggle. Get this struggle up and running again. Bring back the traditions that go not just to my generation, but the generations behind it, and light the fire again, so that we can actually say to working people, there is an alternative. Some people will fight not for position. They won't fight just to be important. They'll fight a worker on a worker's wage. They'll keep to their word. And as our banner said, it's better to break the law than to break the poor, and better still to organise and organise, so our class is on its feet again and fighting.